There's like a pleasant back and forth. Oh, you go drop me this gold striker at one point. And potentially I'll feel a little bit more open and relaxed about, you know, maybe giving you maybe a little AR, maybe SMG here or there.
We'll see. All I know now is anytime I'm playing with you, I'm just taking the loot. Getting cruel. They want to just, I feel like it's itching in their souls to just take all the fights inside the cavern. I'm wondering exactly how games also started for a bunch of players all across the map. What are they trying to steal away from others? Look at that triple edit from Frizusha. This is what I like to see, and he sets up his teammate perfectly. Karmi comes in, picks up that Flodax Elam.
That means Flodax switched drop spot yet again, as well, not yet again, sorry. I was actually saying in the last game he was one of the players who's stuck to the Daily Bugle. Qualifiers, semis, doesn't matter. He's not moved one bit. And now in the final game, he's decided to move up, and it's just not worked out for him at all.
Yeah, he's not going to be moving to the finals.
That's also a very relevant truth. Good stat. Very important. If you see a team go out who is not in the top 6, their FNCS is over.
That's so scary. Wolfie is going to be in that spot with Mr. J. And this is a team, I know they're 5 points, but they've been so much fun to watch this entire weekend. They've had some of the craziest fights overall. They weren't the ones that were giving us the age fight, right? That was Rafa versus Kylie
No.
or something.
No.
They've had some cool breakdowns, some cool, I mean, if you're looking to study off-spawn engagements on what to do right, as well as sometimes what to do wrong, this is a very cool team to watch because they have been flipping some spots as well. Now, though, they have to play a certain part of the game where they haven't been to today at all. 5 points means they haven't really even made it past what, like top 30-ish even?
Well, no, remember, first game, 12 minutes they went down, and it was 48.
True. Okay.
So, you know, I don't know in terms of their best placement off the top of my head right now, but it's not been good, no.
I have to go through uncharted waters. Meanwhile, this is kind of the, I feel like, officially scariest spot to stay. In whatever place you are in the leaderboard, it's not even about overtaking others. It's about being absolutely efficient and living in both worlds as much as possible. 7th place. They're 1 placement away currently from just qualing.
Now, this is an interesting position, though, because this is a north zone. I know it's shocking, but this is a north zone. And they're sitting boxing up on the south side of a relatively north POI, which means that all those players are coming in below them. So they should have great sight lines to get a bunch of tags. All the players rotating there. But if it pulls north for a second, they have to go through everyone else who's in that POI.
That's a very good thing to bring up. Usually it's not that big of a thing to analyze. You know, you look at bus pads. Oh, who's going to drop down first? I feel like it's never really that, you know, relevant. But when it comes to a tournament where over a few days, everyone's been playing in the south over and over again. You get used to a very specific type of game style unconsciously, right? When you look at the game now, if it does pull north in the final moments, we've been working to fix things over and over again, how your end game looks. It's all been based off of rocky reels. It's all been based off of rotations in the middle of the map. Now we go towards the top left. We're talking about snow. The lumberyard is now in play. This game will be very different for all of Europe and in a match where it matters the most.
It's poetic. The final game, the game that decides who is qualifying through, is completely opposite to every other game we've watched this weekend by pulling north instead of south. And we see a lot of the teams who are up in that north side, you can already see a kind of complete shift, an almost paradigm shift in the way that the players are playing. When it comes to that south zones, no one's in the zone early. But when it comes to the north zones, suddenly everyone is in that center zone already. It's already stacked. So players like Karmi and Nefrizi, who are rotating in late, are going to have a tough time finding a power position on one of those hills where they need to be in.
Outside the FNCS as well, when you look at the lumberyard, when you look at the zone play in general, when it comes to cash cups and a bunch of the games that have just been played, 26% of the time we're in the top left hemisphere. It's one of the most common games overall for a bunch of the players. I believe that just also might be FNCS wide across the world in general.
Interesting.
All the games. So it might not be cash cups entirely, but if you look at that pattern just for the FNCS, you understand and realize a bunch of players should have good game plans overall in terms of, you know, how things look in this zone. Yeah, they're basically, you know, we talk about home zone a lot of the time. They'll be in comfort in the environment they're around it.
This is a team right here that I hope is comfortable. This is the South Sleepy Sounds team. Lois and Drea, a team that we've talked about all weekend, a team that I've hyped up at the start of the first day yesterday. You know, stinky performances off spawn. In all honesty, they continually went down. They continually lost in a drop spot they're not comfortable with, but now have switched back to their home spot, Sleepy Sounds, the south side. They've pulled a zone that's favorable to them as well.
RP on the top left side is a good team overall when it just comes to character. You're right, the performance has been a little bit sloppy. There can be no excuse for this zone is what I'm trying to say for Andretta and Flois.
100%. They have to put themselves in a good position. They're not as deep in the zone as I would like. Potentially, it has been their struggle so far, not getting that deep into zone, having difficult rotates later on, repeatedly, game after game. So I'm hoping they have a good game plan for rotating after this, once they've kind of got a bunch of tags on the player coming through. Kaizen and Niazen right now are fourth place team. They are struggling. 53 below. They're looking to take tags. They're unfortunately looking to trade as well.
They're going to continue to struggle because when it comes to this duo on the top portion of your screen right now, I feel like they're the late duo. We're talking about procrastinators at the very start of this broadcast. Let's bring it full circle. I always see them on zone line. I always see them low ground in these end games. And they do conserve materials that way. They get to abuse other people's locations. When it comes to these mountainous zones, it's a lot more difficult to play that low ground. It's a lot more difficult to survive in mid around all these teams switching layers. And already they're starting to struggle with Surge. It's only uphill from here for these boys.
Could be talking of uphill. Till and Julian Calm in the bottom right, trying to drive uphill and struggling, meeting a wall of players in their way. And then bottom left, you see Nate and Sneezy. Similarly, also all of our teams here on the bubble and all struggling with this surge, all in a clustered area.
Look at these names too. Julian Calm, Kaizen, Yaisen, Sneezy, Nate. Some of them might not be here in the finals. This is the last game. And that's just 3 teams we want to be there. Out of the other 3 that can go out through consistency, and the one that'll be there through the win. We will see an upset of a team that's usually there inside the finals. A prestigious name not allowed to play in this first duels FNCS.
Every single team we're watching right now, 1 shot above or 1 shot below on the threshold. The zone now starting to tick. All 3 of our teams who are on the bubble starting to struggle. Nate's teammate, Sneezy, has been completely weakened down. The material is starting to dwindle on the top. We see Kaizen 14 above, just doing anything he can. Now 18 below the threshold again, starting to dwindle down on the chug splashes as well. Julian Calm, 18 above from trading. This is one of the closest storm surges I've ever seen. Be absolutely next to each other.
When Nate takes a shot, Julian Storm Surge goes down. When Kaizen lands something, they all start to switch. These are the only team, 6 out of the 7 players that influence each other with every shot they take.
Rough to see Julian Cobbs managed to get up ahead. Nate actively getting tagged by at the same time. Kaizen just tiptoeing over the line of 15 above, over and over. This triple view beautifully demonstrating every single angle, but now going down into Nate to show you exactly who's in trouble.
Both other teams have gotten almost 100 above. Nate and Sneezy stuck down in the depths, 23 below. They started just right here beside a mountain, but suddenly this box does not look like home. Force and Wings, one of the most aggressive duos. I was sometimes akin to being an armadillo when it comes to trying to pressure. It's impossible to crack their shell. They're going to stop Sneezy from going in and getting any damage, and now it's all up to Nate.
I think Nate ended up letting Sneezy go down there. As a solo, this is the only opportunity for him to qualify. He's in the top 5 right now. He has Wings and Force spraying at his walls as a duo. Just again, only launch pad that he has no heals. He has absolutely nothing, and that team's just tracked him. That's followed him. The tree started to fall onto his build, but no avail underneath the cone right now. Center 3rd zone. That's so rough for him.
I'm speechless right now. FNCS finals without Nate and Sneezy in it is what it's looking like for the moment. Launch pad down. So many shields already used. 3rd place. Skyzoo. Jocks going in to the box. 0 HP. It is a replay of 3rd place going down. And that was 121 points from what we saw earlier on from analytics. It was 129 that was needed. So even them, depending on if a top 6 team wins or even a they might not even make it to the finals. 139, my apologies.
139.
29. 139?
So them being locked in time, low 120s. That has to have a huge shift in terms of who qualifies, right? If the teams above them win a game, that threshold could drop big time. We've seen a lot of players up there struggle, which could shift that threshold a ton. But guys like Flois and Andrea, who are on that congested side of the zone with a ton of other players, they have to capitalize on this final opportunity to make it to the finals.
Majority of teams getting the zone. It will be a squish, a crunch for a bunch around the outsides. I mentioned 129 before because I thought that everyone was close to qualifying currently for the moment. But it looks like there's a journey. 10 more even points on top of that to 139 for a majority of these teams. I thought Nate was just right there. Maybe the 6th, 7th zone is all he had to conquer. But he'll have to go towards the 8th and 9th with just these materials, with his medal already half out. This is just disaster for
by himself. He snuck over here back to the loot of the players that he was just fighting at before and his teammate Snazy. Remember, his inventory had no shield in it. He was down to white HP. He's now managed to get himself back up to almost 100 builds, tons of heals left, and now with a shot at qualification.
Prize pool of $1.3 million, a chance to play for it overall. That'll be on the mind for all these teams currently as well. Frizz and Carmi looking at their position on the boards right now. 9th place, almost gonna need more than 30 points. Well, right now, Reese, have to be Clement and Floki, the Solar boys rolling in. They started this game with 143. They've kind of already done the damage needed. If they win overall, that will change things for a bunch of teams below them. That'll basically add an extra slot to that top 6 in terms of who qualified.
But again, they're not game winners. They're 2nd, 3rd, 5th consistent placement teams. They're not guys who are going to go for height and go for the win unless they're just feeling confident in the final game. So the teams that you're looking for right now on your screen are the ones who are more than likely going for the win.
Welcome to Storm Surge Part 2. Once again, we see teams above that line, below that line. That line specifically. Yeah, 185 for Nate. You thought it got worse with one teammate being down. You thought it got worse with the mats being gone and not around. This man needs to find basically 2 teammates worth of damage. You know, sometimes you get the 100, that person shields up. You have to go deal that 200 once, and I don't see a sniper in his inventory, so doesn't have a chance for that big shot. Even a headshot at this point would not be enough with 225 being the plate he's being served. Flois and Andretta also in trouble. That 4 number looking that much more scary if it's Frey on your box. Andretta will not go down, surprisingly staying up, and Flois will still go for a beam against 2 players entirely. They have the right side edit. They have a few chances for a shot. Flois gets blocked. He's gonna go for the 2v1 beam. He does not get the elimination on one side. He had an opening, but there's no damage, no chance. He's giving them too much time. He has to just edit in and do something. He elects for Andretta to go down, does not trade for the 2 eliminations. He does not go all in. It's all up to Flois now.
That is the issue with not having a shotgun in your inventory. That was a 1v2 clutch, but the choice of inventory just was not there. This is the meta he went to work for. Now he's left with no heals, but luckily he still has the launch pad in his inventory as we switch over to Nefreezy, who's chilling on Surge, chilling on position, not so chilling on the rotate back over to Snake. However, on that far right hand side, he's got a duo trying to run straight inside of his box. He does have the shotgun. He's trying to hit the shots. He's below. He's now 38 above at the same time. He's getting straight out of that box. He knows where the danger is. He knows he has to get out. He's the only player below Storm Surge at this point. 15 below, 1 shot. 1 AR tag will put him up above. This is the clutch for qualification. Potentially, if he stays in this, and Cheatin goes down in the feed. So does Recyclium and Pickle. The surge is now over. Things have calmed. There's a moment to breathe for Nate. And yeah, he's still looking to shoot some players.
He knows that Storm Surge has a part 3. It's still not done with him just yet, and that number was 96. He had to climb. The people getting the eliminations on these people that are following in the feed as well. Reese, that should be paid attention to. Zara picking up a few of the eliminations. Kidwo as well. And Dreda as well. So they have a huge refresh to work with. Zaka, who's Zara's teammate, gets a nice Elim fully confirmed as well. Look at Flois and where we left him. Very similar to Nate. These are 2 stories, 2 legendary paths. We might just see close here before the end game even starts.
No, Nate goes down in the zone at the backside. Potentially the shots were not correct play. rose the awareness of everyone else to the lobby. Now it's down to Flois, losing Andrea, 8th place currently. No heals, 15 builds, 1 launch pad to his name to clutch up.
Low ground, all day is struggle for people who aren't even moving in the zone. It's tough to see Nate go down that way, but it kind of shows you how that low ground will play out for a majority of these teams, and they've been used to being in that spot. Zara actually going down. They have a pad and should be so good on builds, depending on all the action we just saw them take a part of, but it's Leon that snaps their story in half. Flois finally goes down to Rafa, so Andretta will not be there alongside Flois in the finals of this FNCS either. Zaka, though, will have to try to solo clutch this. Kaden and Cruel have been here since day 1 on the right side of your screen. They're in 7th place and have high ground for what it looks like. They must either play really well or go for the win, but Kane slips, slides, and falls. They're having trouble editing through these builds. The pressure amounting to too much. Their blood freezing inside these close, flowy mountains, and Kane is down, put on ice. Cruel now left by himself. No launch pad, has the builds, but is stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Entire lobby with their focus, their eyes looking onto Cruel as a solo. One mere man trying to make his way through the entire lobby. He's 108 below the surge at the same time. It's ticking, his heel's going, the zone's catching up. He's just doing whatever he can to hit the damage, hit the shots onto some of the other players in the lobby at the same time. This is a potential qualification over, but hold on. He's moved up to 6th place on the leaderboard so far. So the 7th place team is currently down and underneath him, but there's still a lot of placement points left to go.
He's trying to keep things alive and survive. 24th place team all the way up on high ground. So if it's not going to be one of those top 6 teams winning, it might be tough for Cruel. He's dropping down, perfect drop and catch to make sure he doesn't take the fall damage, but he needs to upkeep with his shields. Player in his box, and that's Cruel's run done. But it's not over yet. Jeff going straight up for height. It's 2 teams that are desperate for a win. They're nowhere close to the consistency. Jeff with the edit course all the way on high ground, but does not find a shot or the Spider-Man grab. It's unfortunate. Left up top to Keandro by himself. Does he have the potential for a res? Is it even an option at this point? No, absolutely not. And now the win, it was just there in his grasp, right there in front of his eyes. It's gone, and he has to do things by himself.
I think he was going for the materials, hopefully getting the drop from Jeff, but it just didn't happen yet at all. But up on high ground, Flawless. Keyrox, the team who's been in the fights, in the engagements all day, now making a name for themselves up on high ground. They have the materials to hold it, but do they have the skill? Do they have the awareness of the entire lobby? We have not seen that so far, but yet this is the game that they could win and qualify. They have no shot at doing it through consistency.
You can hear the shots rumbling on low ground. Subwoofers of bass just going back and forth over and over again. It is not pretty down there on the ice. Krusty and Relvis, they start to skate down below as well. 118 points. They're right outside the top 6. Swifty, I assume, will just have to qualify after that elimination onto Floki. But there it is. It's Clement actually going down. They should be good too with the points they have in this game. We might be seeing them in the finals, but for Relvis and Krusty, this is desperation. Maximum overdrive. Flawless as well up top on height, 85 points. They need this win. Nothing short of that will cut it with 7 teams still left, but they're having trouble knocking on the door of every team down below. Jams it on this box. Is going to get splintered to side splash as Relvis finally goes down. Krusty, 3 elims, 120 points. He needs about 19 more. Not going to have the chance to maybe even pick up his teammate. The zone is bouncing back. 9 zone revival? No chance, absolutely. 30 HP playing with that storm. No mats available. FNCS qualifier run on the line. He navigates with the shot, looking for the beam and finds it. The dream survives for a few more seconds, but he needs to stay active. 4 teams now down. Stepter finally gone. Krusty, he was the one getting the elimination. Jams it also denied a seat. 5th place. It's looking good. He's fine overall. This might just be enough for the qual. He does go down though in 5th place. How much higher do the points go? Clinberry, 11th overall. He might be looking for the win. Him and Leon have been so aggressive, but that maximum push on the gas might be too much. They're out of mats. Leon now too is trying to find a way to swing up. That was his last spider shot. They've got nothing but the guns and no mats on their back, going for the drop shot down. It's over. Huddy and Cyro up top, a 92-point run right now. 14th place. They need this win here.
It's a 2v2 situation, high ground versus low ground. The materials, yet again, almost down to nothing. But can the shots connect? The HP so low on Hutty. Hutty has qualified. He's in 3rd place to win this, to qualify. Xerox and Flawless have to pick up the victory. They jump into the box, and they do it. They are going to qualify straight through to the FNCS finals with that victory royale.
absolutely beautiful from many different teams. We saw a variety of perspectives of runs, especially one that was absolutely desperate. Never count out any team in the semifinals all the way till the last game. That's what we love to see.
Every